Chapter 6 Back Office. The setup of all features of the POS was made in the back office. This chapter will explain how to create a setup enabling to generate a database functional on the POS, as well as how to issue reports. The tree view shows how the system is divided. Go to Setup, Sales Items, then Tree View. Notice the different subdivisions levels, starting with categories constituting the first level, under which there are divisions. For example, under the category Beverages, there's the division Water, under which in turn there are groups such as Local Water and Imported Water under the Water division. Under these groups there are items constituting the last level, such as Small Water and Large Water under the group Local Water. This classification is advantageous for reporting later on, allowing identifying the revenues generated from each group, or from each division, or from each category. To create or modify categories, click on Setup, Categories. Here, the previously created categories will appear to the left. In case you would like to modify one of these categories, select it, carry out the modifications, and click on Save. In case you would like to create a new category, click on New. Insert the category name and click on Save. Notice that the newly created category is added to the list on the left. To create or modify divisions, click on Setup, Divisions. Here, the previously created divisions will appear. In case you would like to modify one of these divisions, select it, carry out the modifications, and click on Save. Notice that the divisions have different IDs, according to which items on the invoice are ordered. For example, soft drink items will be listed before those of dishes. Also notice that regarding these IDs, the figures between 1 and 100 are reserved for drinks, the figures between 101 and 200 are reserved for food. This is intended to allow listing drinks on the invoice before food. If you would like to create a new division for beverages, it is possible to create a division to be placed before the food. For example, click on New and enter the ID and the name of the division. For instance, Water under Beverages category, and then click on Save. Notice that the Water division was added before the food. After creating divisions, groups should be created. Groups constitute the level that precedes the items. To create a new group, click on Setup, Groups. Here all the groups are listed. Notice the group name under the relevant division. Notice here the tax and service. It is crucial to indicate if the group is subject to tax and to specify the tax the group is subject to, as well as the service. In case the checkbox next to the tax is not marked, for example, next to Tax 1, the items will be sold without being taxable. Hence the need to pay attention to taxes and services. To create a new group, click on New, insert, for example, Imported Water. Select it under the division Water. Mark the applicable taxes and click on Save. In case you would like to place a group on the main screen, which opens when clicking on Main, mark the checkbox next to Have this group on the main screen and select the places where it shall appear. It's also possible to mark the checkbox next to Repeat on all screens, enabling to display the group on all screens at the bottom. Also, choose the color to be applied later on when the screens are auto-generated. In the end, items shall be created. Click on Menu. Here it is possible to search for any previously created item. In order to create a new item, click on New. Insert the item's name. for example, small water. Notice that there are three sections: description, menu description, and kitchen description. A different description can be inserted in each of them. The first description will be issued on the customer's invoice. The menu description will be seen on the screen. And the kitchen description can be seen by the chef in the kitchen when the order is issued. Another description can be used, and other languages can also be used in case the chef or the operator understands a different language. Also, notice the price modes. As noted in the POS, there are different methods to define the price modes. The price can be determined here. For example, price mode 1 can be fixed at $70, price mode 2 can be fixed at $80, price mode 3 can be fixed at $90, and price mode 4 can be fixed at $100. Different methods can be used and will be tackled later on. Notice as well the function. Most of the created items constitute revenues. Items can also be classified by open price, weight, remark, or by unit. The next step is to classify the item under a group. For example, small water under local water. Afterwards, using printout 1, specify the printer where the item will be printed, allowing at a later stage to know from where to extract the stock management. For example, small water shall be printed on the bar printer. For this purpose, select bar log under printout 1. If you would like to print the same order on another printer, choose another log under printout 2, such as pass log, where the whole order is listed before being served on tables or sent as delivery. Printout 3, printout 4, printout 5 can be used according to each restaurant's need. When done, click on Save. This is the easiest way to create the item. In case you would like to add this item to the screen, click on Add Item to Screen. Select the needed screen. Click on SC, then click on Yes, and choose the color. The item is now available on the POS. In case the price or the description of an item was changed, search for the item, change the price, for example from 100 to 110, and change the description, for example, Coke to Cola, and click on Save. Modifiers were previously tackled in the POS. Now we will show you how to do the setup. For example, how to add modifiers to the T-bone steak. As noticed, a screen shall appear allowing the waiter to choose the customer's steak preferences: well done, medium, or rare. These will be listed under Modifier 1. Another modifier enables to define other kitchen remarks, such as no salt, with sauce, and without sauce. Under Modifier 1, all the groups created in the system appear. Choose, for example, meat remarks, under which the items, such as well done, medium, or rare, are created. And since the waiter has to choose only one modifier for the steak, insert 1. Under Modifier 2, choose Kitchen Remarks, under which in turn items such as no salt, without sauce, or extra sauce are created. The waiter can insert as many modifiers as needed. The value is kept 0 to enable adding as many modifiers as needed. A third modifier can also be added. When done, click on Save. If you would like to insert a combo to the system, first create the item. For example, Combo Philadelphia. Click on Included Items and choose the items constituting this combo. For example, Philadelphia. The item can have a price or can be for free. In this example, it's for free. The Coke is for free as well. When done, click on Save. Each time the item Combo Philadelphia is sold on the POS, Philadelphia and Coke will be automatically included. In case the item to be sold through the system has a barcode, using the barcode reader inserts the barcode in the specified field, enabling to sell the item based on the barcode. In case the item has more than one barcode, it is possible to insert barcode 2 and barcode 3. In case the item doesn't have a barcode and you would like to create a code for the item, insert, for example, the code 12 in the POS by clicking on PLU. Then click on Enter. The system will automatically sell the item. In case the item has a recipe and the cost was inserted in the inventory system, notice that the cost will be filled automatically. Or in case there was no recipe, the cost can be inserted manually. In case an item is not sold anymore on the menu for different reasons, it can be marked as not available, notifying the waiter whenever trying to sell this item that is not available in the restaurant. In case there are items you wouldn't like to include in the reports, for example, you don't want to include in the report "No ice," remove the mark in the checkbox next to "Show in Report," and the "No ice" will not appear anymore in the By Item reports. In case you don't want to include an item with price 0 on the customer's invoice, for example, you don't want to include "No ice" on the invoice, mark the checkbox next to Hide if price equals 0, and the remark "No ice" will not be shown on the invoice. As noticed in the POS, there are items having associated pictures. In order to insert these pictures, click on Picture button available in the toolbar. Search for the picture to be added, for example, this picture for the item chocolate cake, and click on Save. In case there was a back screen and you would like to place the item's picture on the back screen, click on Picture Back Screen. Select the picture and click on Save. It is possible to know the time at which an item is sold by clicking on the Statistics button on the toolbar. Select the time. And notice here, for example, that at 10 o'clock, 8 units of this item were sold in quick service, and 3 units on the tables, etc. Statistics are crucial to represent the selling activity in the report. As noticed in the POS, there is the main screen, which can be seen by clicking on Main. Clicking on one of these buttons will open up a new screen encompassing the relevant items. These screens can be created in the back office. Go to Setup, Screens. Screen names can be written here in the list, with the main screen listed in addition to other screens. In order to include an additional screen, simply insert its name and click on Save. Different main screens can be used. For example, notice here Main Takeaway. These screens will be further explained when explaining employees setup. It's also possible to define a picture for the screen, as noticed on the POS. Click on Picture. Select the desired picture and click on Save. After having created all items, screens and groups, the next step is to define the screen setup. In the POS, click on Functions, Screen Setup. Start with the setup of the main screen where the screens that lead to items shall be added. Select Main and click on OK. For example, you'd like to add the Imported Water screen. Click on Screen. Here, notice all the screens created in the back office using Setup Screens. The screens listed here will be reviewed in the POS after clicking on Screen. To add the Imported Water screen, click on one empty white square, select the needed screen, choose the color, and click on OK. When done, click on Save. The next step is to implement the setup of the added imported water screen. Click on Functions, Screen Setup, select Imported Water, and click on OK. If you would like the screen to appear as the main screen, enabling to place orders faster, click on Copy from another screen. The system will require a key. Insert Yes using capital letters. The list of screens will be opened, allowing to copy from the desired screen. Select Main and click on OK. The system will ask, "Are you sure?" Click on Yes. The screen appears here, analogous to the main screen, though the items are missing. Click on Item. The list of groups appears. By clicking on the group Imported Water, the items appear. To fill the item on the screen, click on one empty white square. Select the item, choose the color, and click on OK. The same applies for the second and third items. When done, click on Save. When accessing the screen to order items, notice that the imported water was added. Click on it. The below buttons are repeated screens that appear again, and these are the items that can be ordered. Each of the below buttons is a separate screen that presents specific items. By clicking on Main, the main screen appears with all listed screens. Hence, the setup of the items and screens is accomplished. Another way to show the items without using the screens is by using the group. Click on Screen Setup, Main, and click on OK. Click on the button Group. The list of groups appears. For example, you would like to add the dessert. Click on one empty white square, select the group, choose the color, click on OK, and then click on Save. The difference between groups and screens will be explained now. This is the dessert screen showing the items as follows, and the items can be ordered. This is the dessert group showing all the items listed under this group, and the items can be ordered. In the screen setup, notice the following buttons. Color allows to change color by selecting the needed square and choosing the other color. Copy from another screen was previously tackled. Clear screen allows to delete the whole screen. Clear item allows to delete an item from the screen. Clear all pictures allows to delete the pictures. And back to leave the setup. Menus constitute the restaurant's revenue centers. To create menus, go to Setup, Menu. Notice to the left the previously created menus, which are Tables, Quick Service, and Delivery. These menus are useful for reporting. Other kinds of menus can be created. For example, in case two different concepts existed in the restaurant, such as a pub and an eating place, it's possible to create a separate menu for the pub and another separate menu for the restaurant, allowing to issue separate reports, one showing the pub's revenues and the other showing the restaurant's revenues. Menus can also be created for each of the fine dining, quick service, and delivery, in order to know their respective revenues. To create a menu, click on New. Insert, for example, Bar, which constitutes a separate revenue center. Then click on Save. Click on New again. Insert, for example, Restaurant, which constitutes another revenue center. Menus can be created according to the type of business. As noticed in the POS, different kinds of discounts can be done. To create discounts, go to Payment, Discount. Here, all kinds of discounts can be created. First, insert the description. By clicking on the arrow, all the previously created discounts can be seen. After inserting the description, define the type of discount, either by amount or by item or by percentage. Determine whether it is an open or fixed discount. Insert the discount value in the % field. If the discount is taxable, mark the checkbox next to Discount is taxable. In case the tax is imposed on the whole invoice disregarding the discount, for example, the invoice value is $100 and the discount value is $20 and the tax value is 10%, i.e. $10 out of $100, it is possible to pay $10 as a tax before the discount or $8 as a tax after the discount. This can be defined from Discount is taxable, which, if marked, sets the tax value after the discount, and if unchecked, sets the tax value before the discount. To create a new discount, click on New. Insert the discount name. Select the type. Determine whether it is open or fixed discount. Insert the percentage and select whether the discount is taxable or not. In the end, there is the message on invoice. After selecting the message on invoice, a message will be written on the bottom of the invoice to be signed by the manager or the customer to provide approval on this discount, enabling to know later on the reason for this discount. In case there was a group of items whose cost is very high, or the profit is very low and cannot be subject to discount, it's possible to assign discount exceptions to these groups of items. Go to Payment, Discount Exceptions. Here, all groups appear. By selecting, for example, the discount Management 100% using the arrow, the discount will not be taken anymore into consideration for the selected group. For example, fish dishes. All the items in the selected group will not be affected by the discount Management 100% done on the invoice. Any discount can be chosen in addition to the groups that shall not be subject to this discount. The system supports multiple currencies. To set up currencies, go to Payment, Currency Setup. Notice to the left all the previously created currencies. The system presents a main currency having a rate equaling 1. The rate of each of the remaining currencies will be based on the rate of the main currency. Here, notice for example the US dollars with its relevant description, rate, symbol, decimal number, as well as the decimal number inventory and rate for the purchasing. Take for example US dollars as the main currency and the euro as the second currency. Notice the rate of €1 to the dollar along with the symbol and decimal number. To add a new currency, click on New, insert the description, fix the rate, and insert the symbol, the decimal number, as well as the decimal number inventory and rate for the purchasing in case there is another rate. When done, click on Save. To create taxes, go to Payment, Tax Configuration. Notice to the left 5 tax levels. For example, the VAT is 10%. Notice that the checkbox next to Inclusive is not marked, implying that it is currently exclusive. The tax rate is, for example, 10%. In case the price of an item is, for instance, 100, the system will automatically add a 10% tax, increasing the price to 110. If the checkbox next to Inclusive is marked, notice on the Items page 2 fields to determine the price, one for the price before tax and one for the price after tax. For example, the price of one Coke is $100, including the tax. In case you would like to change the item's price, insert the final price in the field highlighted in pink and click on Enter. The system will calculate the price before tax. When done, click on Save. Going back to the Taxes page, in case there was any other taxes, select, for example, Tax 2 and insert the relevant rate. Also, notice the field Tax the Tax. If the checkbox next to this field is marked, Tax 2 will apply after the tax, i.e., if the VAT is 10% and Tax 2 is 15%, it applies on the total, which includes the VAT. If the checkbox next to this field is not marked, Tax 2 will apply before adding the VAT. It is possible to apply the tax on all groups and apply on all employee roles, because for tax to be valid, it has to have a specific rate and has to be checked on the groups and on the employee roles. As noticed in the POS, while closing the invoices, there are different payment types such as cash, credit card, room charge, etc. These payment types can be created from the back office. Go to Payment, Payment Types. Here notice all the available payment types. By clicking on the arrow, all the previously created payment types can be seen. In case you would like to modify one of them, select it. Here, next to Payment Type, insert the description, which will appear on the POS. Next to Payment Currency, select the currency you would like to use. Next to Type, select an option among credit, credit card, room charge, cash, ticket restaurant, gift certificate, or check. Next, to change status, choose between change or tip entry. Change applies when an amount has to be returned to the customer. For example, if the invoice value is $88 and the customer has paid $100, if you enter the figure 100 and choose the payment type, the system will inform you that you have to return $12 as change to the customer. If the credit card or check are being used, the customer can write $88 on the check or can ask to withdraw the exact amount from the credit card. If he writes on the check a greater amount or asks to withdraw a greater amount from the credit card, this means that he would like to leave the difference as tips. For example, if he writes on the check $95 and you have selected tip entry, the system will automatically include $7 as tips on the invoice. Message on invoice is used in case the credit is adopted as payment type. The message is included on the invoice, which shall be signed by the customer confirming that he paid in credit. Open the cash drawer, which shall be checked depending on the payment type. For example, when credit is adopted as payment type, there's no need to open the cash drawer because no cash is being entered. Hence, the need to remove the mark from the checkbox next to Open Cash Drawer. When cash, for example, is adopted as payment type, mark the checkbox next to Open Cash Drawer. From the Workstations page, it is possible to connect the invoice printers and orders printers to the system. Also accessible are the menu, mode, main screen, in addition to many other options. The workstation represents the POS in the restaurant. Each workstation has a specific number, as shown in the list to the left. To know the workstation number, go to the POS. Notice on the Enter Code page the workstation number mentioned here to the left. Go back to the Workstations page. First, the Invoice Printer. This is currently workstation number 1. Each computer should be accessed on its own. In case workstation number 1 is intended for the cashier, and invoices shall be issued from this workstation, go to the PC, which is workstation number 1, open the back office, go to System Configuration, Workstations. The following page opens. Select the workstation number. The printer should be recognized in Printers and Faxes, and you should make sure the printer has printed the test page. Go to Start, Devices and Printers. You can preview all the printers linked to this PC. Make sure the printer is able to print the test page. Right-click on the printer, Printer Properties. Click on Print Test Page. The test page shall be issued on the printer. If the test page is successfully printed, this means that the printer is recognized and is able to print from Windows. It shall now be set by Omega. On the Workstations page, first select the workstation number. Notice here, check 1, Fast Food 1, then check 2, Fast Food 2, which are related to the invoice printers. By clicking on the arrow next to check 1, all printers set in Printers and Faxes appear. Select the printer where the invoice shall be issued. Check 1 is for tables. Fast Food 1 is for delivery and takeaway. In case you would like the same invoice to be printed again on the same printer or another printer, select the needed printers in Check 2 and Fast Food 2. When done, click on Save. From the Workstations page as well, it is possible to connect the order printers to the system. Regarding order printers, only one PC will operate as print server, to which all other printers where orders can be issued are linked, such as the bar printer, the kitchen printer, the pizza printer, or the pass printer. Test pages should be printed from these printers before setting them up in Omega. Go to Start, Devices and Printers. All printers are here. Make sure each printer is able to print a test page from this PC. Go to the PC operating as print server. Select the workstations existing in the restaurant. Take, for example, 3 workstations. Go to the first workstation, click on 1. Here, at the lower part of the page, order printers can be recognized. Under Logical Printers, there is, for example, the bar log. Select the bar printer facing it in the next column under Physical Printers. Facing the dessert log, select Dessert Printer. Facing the kitchen log, select Kitchen Printer. Facing the pass log, select Pass Printer, etc. The bar log and the dessert log were previously tackled on the Items page. As noticed here, Printout 1 and Printout 2 contain the logical printer. For example, American Salad is under Kitchen log. As noted on the Workstation page, the Kitchen log prints on the kitchen printer. Hence, when ordering an American Salad, it will be printed on the kitchen printer. This link between the item and the workstations enables to print orders. When done with Workstation 1, go to Workstation 2, where the same procedure applies. Now, for instance, in other cases, Workstation 2 is on another floor of the restaurant, where there's another bar, i.e. there is one bar printer in the first floor and another bar printer in the second floor. Select Bar 2 under Physical Printers for Workstation 2. Click on Save. Each time an order is placed in Workstation 2, it will be printed on Bar 2 printer, and each time an order is placed in Workstation 1, it will be printed on the bar printer existing in the first floor. The same procedure applies for all workstations available in the restaurant. The last condition required to print orders is to make sure Omega Print Server is running. This is Omega Server C5. When you double-click on it, notice it is running in the taskbar here. As long as Omega Server is running, orders will be issued. Omega Server is available in the startup and will run automatically when the computer is turned on. Omega Server shall only run on the PC operating as print server, to which the order printers are linked. As noticed, the Workstations page is very important for the setup. Here, the cash drawer can be identified in case there is a cash drawer. The scale can be identified in case there was an automatic scale interface. The ticket printer can be identified. Entrance tickets can be defined. The caller ID port can be identified in case of delivery. A special skin can be chosen for the restaurant. The customer display port can be set. Important functionalities are also available, such as the menu, the mode, and the main screen. Later in this chapter, you will notice in the employee setup how to use the menu, the mode, and the main screen. Each employee will have access to a specific menu, a specific price mode level, and a specific main screen. In case they are specified from Workstation, each workstation will read from a specific menu, a specific mode, and a specific main screen that can be defined here. As noticed earlier in the POS, each time a void was performed, a list containing the void reasons opened. These void reasons can be created in the back office. Go to Setup, Void Reasons. Here, void reasons are listed. To add a reason, for example, delay, select an empty field, insert delay, and click on Save. To modify a reason, select it, modify it, and click on Save. In case invoices are subject to service charge, in order to determine the service charge value, go to Payment, Service Charge, and Minimum Charge. Insert the rate, for instance 10%, and click on Save and Exit. Make sure the groups subject to service charge are marked in this regard. Also, make sure the employee configuration, which will be tackled later on, is marked as subject to service charge to apply the service on the invoice. From this page, minimum charge on invoice can be set by checking the relevant option. Insert the minimum charge value, for instance $50 by customer. In case the number of customer on the table was 4, the value of the invoice shall be at least $200. If Show Message was on, in case the invoice value was less than the minimum charge value, the system will inform you in a message that the invoice value is below the minimum charge value in order to add more items. Or the system can automatically add the difference on invoice. This can be done by following these steps. An item named minimum charge is previously created as one of the sales items. As noticed here, this minimum charge item has an ID. This ID shall be inserted here. Going back to the previous example, where the number of customers on the table was 4, with a minimum charge of $50 by customer, let's say the invoice value was $170. The system will automatically add an item with the difference value of $30, which consists the minimum charge, and whose ID was added here. The total will now be $200. The minimum charge can be applied on tables, on delivery, on takeaway, on tables and delivery only, tables and takeaway only, delivery and takeaway only, or on all revenue centers and activities. When done, click on Save and Exit. In case you would like to modify the floor maps tackled in the POS or add a new floor map, go to Actions and Tasks, Floor Map. To add a new floor map, click on New. For example, for the second floor, click the menu, click on Enter and Save. Thus, this floor map is added. A setup for this floor map should be created. Select it. Click on Open Map. The first step is to set a picture. Click on Set Picture. Select the picture and click on Save. The next step is to place the tables. click on Add Buttons. Insert tables numbers. Add all the existing tables and arrange their positions by dragging each table to its place. When done, click on Save. After finishing the floor map setup, click on Exit. When entering the POS, go to Floor Map. Notice the recently created floor map for the second floor, along with the placed tables. Going back to the setup, in case you would like to remove a table, select it and click on Delete. To access the page where the Employees setup is done, click on Employees. The following screen opens. Notice at first that the employee has an ID, a name, and can have two different passwords. For example, one can be using a magnetic card and the other can be numeric. The employee can use one of the two passwords. Different roles are listed in Access Back Office. These roles are previously created, each with a specific configuration. If this employee does not have the right to access the back office, select No Access. If this employee has the right to access the back office, select the role by virtue of which he is given authorization to access the back office. Because later on, you will determine the sections each role can have access to in the back office. Also, notice the field Language, where different languages are available. A different language can be defined for each employee. For instance, if the French language is selected for an employee, each time this employee opens the POS, back office, or inventory, all buttons will be in French. If the selected language is English, all buttons will be in English. It is also possible to insert the phone number in the corresponding field. Under Functions, the employee's access to sections is determined. For example, Head Server, indicating that this employee can access the tables, and after opening and closing a table, his account remains open to add another table. Head Server and Server are both used for tables management, but Server is selected if more than one waiter are using the same POS. Each time an order is placed, the system requires a username, allowing another waiter to insert his code and access the needed section. The difference will be explained in the following example. Create an ID for employee number 3 and assign the function Head Server to this employee. And create another ID for employee number 2 and assign the function Server to this employee. Notice on the POS, when using the ID of employee number 3 to open a table, place an order, this screen will remain opened, and the system will not redirect you to the username screen. Employee number 3 can continue working, open another table, place orders, view tables, print, etc. Whereas, when using the ID of employee number 2 to open a table and place an order, the system will redirect you to the page Enter your code, requiring to insert a code again to access the needed section. Fast food is another function. This function is used for quick service. Its role in the POS will be explained presently. Fast food represents takeaway in the quick service. After clicking on it, place the order and click on Cash without the need to print the order or the invoice. Another function is the Delivery. Its role in the POS will be explained presently. By clicking on Delivery, the following screen opens, enabling to search for customers. This was previously explained in the POS in the Delivery chapter on how to place orders for delivery. Driver is another function. The driver does not have access to the POS. However, it is possible to use his name for dispatch in case of delivery, as follows. Notice here in the driver's list the driver's name. Day off indicates that there is no function. Each employee can have up to 5 functions. As noticed here, this employee has access to tables, quick service, and delivery. He can open tables and sell as takeaway or as delivery. Under Key, the names that appear on the POS are listed. For example, instead of tables, you would like to write Fine Dining. Insert the desired expression and click on Save. Notice on the POS that the button that used to be Tables is now entitled Fine Dining, and its function is Head Server, i.e., it will operate as table management. Next to each function, it is necessary to determine the key so that the button appears on the POS. Under Configuration, roles can be determined, such as Cashier, Driver, Manager, and Waiter, previously created. If the Manager is selected, this employee will have access to the POS as Manager. The Manager can have a specific configuration. He can see some buttons and he can perform some actions, different than those of the Cashier or Waiter. This will be explained later on under Employee Configuration, where roles can be determined. Access To indicates the screen to which the employee has access. For example, for the first row, which includes Head Server, Fine Dining, and Manager, the employee has access to the main screen. When the key is Quick Service, the employee has access to the main takeaway, which is different from the table's main screen. Under Access To, all the screens created in the back office appear, and whose setup was made in the POS under Screen Setup. Here you can determine the screens to which the user has access when he opens the table, or the quick service, etc. In this example, notice that there is a main screen related to table management and a main screen related to quick service management. In the POS, when the user opens a table, notice the main screen that includes Course and Fire, for example. Since the button Course and Fire is not needed in Quick Service, when accessing Quick Service, notice that the button Course and Fire does not exist, because the setup of the Quick Service main screen does not include the Course and Fire button. Under Access To, it is also possible to select From Workstation. In case the restaurant has, for example, 2 workstations, each on a floor, and each floor has its own menu and its own screen, select From Workstation. And as noticed before, the screens are determined on the Workstations page. Notice here, for example, Workstation 1 is on the first floor. The user has access to the main screen. And in Workstation 2 on the second floor, the user has access to the main screen of the second floor. Regarding modes, as explained earlier in the POS, it is possible to use different price levels. Mode 1 was applied in the Head Server example, i.e., the table management. Mode 2 was applied to Quick Service. Mode 3 was applied to Delivery. In each adopted mode, the system was using a different price level. This setup is achieved from the Employee setup, where one can choose Mode 1 to Fine Dining, Mode 2 to Quick Service, and Mode 3 to Delivery. In the Items menu, each price mode shall be previously set with a different value. Also, notice under Modes the option From Workstation, which operates the same way as Access To. If From Workstation is selected, the price that applies is the one determined in the workstation. For example, in Workstation 1, Mode 1 is adopted. In Workstation 2, which is on the second floor, Mode 2 is adopted. The same item is sold at a different price. The last option under Modes is Regular. When the option Regular is selected, the price is determined by time. In case the restaurant implements happy hour concept, or in case different prices are adopted during different time intervals of the day. Go to System Configuration, Modes. Here, specify the time interval for each price mode. For example, Mode 1 is applicable from 5 to 12. Mode 2 is applicable from 12 to 6. Mode 3 is applicable from 6 to 12 a.m. And Mode 4 is applicable from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. These time intervals can be modified. It is important to cover all the working hours in the restaurant. In case you would like to use only Mode 1 and Mode 2, mark the checkbox next to Disable beside Mode 3 and Mode 4. And it is possible to cover all the working hours using only Mode 1 and Mode 2. This is also applicable for the happy hour concept. Mode 1 can be set between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. And the remaining time is covered by Mode 2. When done, click on Save. Make sure Regular is selected under Modes for the employees. Also, if From Workstation is selected, inside the workstation, specify, for example, that in the first floor, Mode 1 is always adopted, and in the second floor, Regular is adopted, which means that only in the second floor there is the happy hour concept. Hence, if the employee is using Workstation 1 in the first floor, he will not take into consideration the happy hour and will always keep the same mode, while on the second floor, where Regular is selected in Workstation 2, the happy hour will be taken into consideration. As mentioned earlier, menus are created to know the sales amount of each revenue center, such as the sales amount in Table Management, the sales amount in Quick Service, and the sales amount in Delivery. In the Employee Setup, select the menu corresponding to the function to identify tables, quick service, etc. as follows. Facing the Head Server function, which is the Table Management, select Tables under Menu. The same applies for Quick Service and Delivery. This will allow, at a later stage when issuing reports by menu, to know the sales amount in Table Management, the sales amount in Quick Service, and the sales amount in Delivery. Menus can be used in case we have a bar and a restaurant to identify the revenues generated by the bar and those generated from the restaurant. Under Key, insert Bar in a cell and Restaurant in another. Select Main Screen under Access To, define the modes. Under Menu, insert Bar in a cell and Restaurant in another. Notice that in the POS there are now two buttons, one named Restaurant and the other named Bar. Sales can be performed either from the restaurant or from the bar. The menu can also be defined from the workstation. If From Workstation is selected under Menu, and there are two different workstations, one in the restaurant and the other in the bar, all you have to do is create one head server. The employee will see only one button for tables. However, inside the workstation, it is previously determined that if he sells using Workstation 1, all the sales will be registered on the bar menu. And if he sells using Workstation 2, which is in the restaurant, all the sales will automatically be registered in the restaurant. When reports are issued, the sales in the bar in Workstation 1 will be listed apart, and the sales in the restaurant in Workstation 2 will be listed separately. In case you have previously created a configuration for an employee, whether for the configuration for Access To, for Modes, or for Menu, and you would like to apply the same configuration for all employees, simply click on it and set it for all employees. The system will require a key. Insert Yes using capital letters. all employees will have the same configuration. Here, the default map of the employee can be defined. Select, for example, the main floor. Notice on the POS that when this employee clicks on Floor Map, the defined default map appears. In case he would like to access another map, he clicks on Map button and selects the other map. It is also possible to prevent an employee from accessing a map. Click on Restricted Maps, select the concerned map, for example bar, and click on Save. Notice now that when this employee clicks on Floor Map, the bar map is not listed anymore among the options. When the employee arrives to the restaurant, he is supposed to punch in. He enters his code and logs in. On the next page here, he clicks on the clock. The system will ask, "Are you sure you want to punch?" He clicks on Yes, and the system will indicate that this employee is now in. Notice when he enters his code again that a circle is highlighted in yellow here, indicating that the employee is in. At the end of the day, after the employee finishes his shift, he logs in again, clicks on the clock. The system will ask, "Are you sure you want to punch?" He clicks on Yes. The system will indicate that this employee is now out. Also notice when his code is entered again that the circle highlighted in yellow is not there anymore. The system will calculate the time from the moment the employee punches in to the moment he punches out. It is also possible to calculate the labor cost. This is achievable from the back office on the Employee Setup page, where the salary can be defined. Insert each employee's hourly salary. From the POS, go to Function, Main Reading. Click on Labor Cost. A pop-up window shows the productivity from a specific time to another. Notice here, for example, the activities performed between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. The employee's fee at this moment, the average transactions, the labor cost percentage in relation to the sales amount, as well as the productivity. It is also possible to issue a report detailing the time and attendance, the employee's arrival time, the departure, the presence duration, the hours spent in the restaurant, i.e. the working hours. This kind of report is issued from the back office Reports, Time and Attendance. The report can be detailed as well. As noticed previously on the Employees page, there are different roles that can be determined either through the configuration or through Access Back Office. Roles can be created or modified by accessing Employees, Employee Roles. Click on New. Insert, for example, Supervisor. Indicate the table's numbers, whose range can be between 1 and 9,999. Define a specific range for each role, for example between 1 and 1,000 for the supervisor, implying that this employee cannot access tables that do not fall within this range. For example, he cannot open table number 2000. Employee roles are useful to achieve the configuration. In this section, the employee's management will be explained, underlining tasks they can perform, as well as the limitations. In the back office, go to Employees, Employee Configuration. First, under Find, select the role, for example, Cashier. There are 4 different columns here: General, Functions, Command, and Reading, which include everything that can be done by the employee on the POS. In case you would like to prevent the employee from effecting some actions, remove the mark in the checkbox next to the related action. For example, remove the mark next to Item Discount in case you don't want him to make discounts. The same applies to all other actions, such as Discount Amount, Add, Less, Delete, Discount Percentage, Clear Discount, Tip, Clear Tip, Print the Invoice. Enter and Payment Types is designed to prevent the employee from completely closing the invoice. He can print the invoice but cannot perform cash. For example, the waiter can be prevented from accomplishing enter and payment types and can only be allowed to close and print the invoice without being able to make discounts or any other action, and cannot completely close the invoice, an action which is only performed by the cashier. Taxes and services are also related to the employee configuration. Here it is possible to define the taxes and services. Mark the checkbox next to service if it applies, and next to the taxes that apply. Sell for another server can be used for the manager. In case you don't want the sales made by the manager to be mentioned under his name, i.e., in case the manager needed to open a table, he has to do it on someone else's behalf. For any transaction performed by the manager at this stage, the system will ask on behalf of whom the table is being opened. Let's say on behalf of waiter 2. The manager places the order. However, the sales operation is not saved under the manager's name, but under the name of the employee selected by the manager when he opens the table. Back, in case the employee is not supposed to go back before finishing the order, especially in quick service. Reprint check, in case the employee is allowed to print the invoice only once, and you want to prevent him from printing it again. Add on printed check, in case once the invoice is printed, the employee is not allowed to add any items or to void it. The invoice has to remain the way it is, and if the customer orders other items, another invoice shall be opened after closing the original one. Open tables access. In case each waiter has his own section, remove the mark in the checkbox next to Open Tables Access to stop him from accessing other waiters' tables. He can access the tables in his section. In case he has to leave earlier, he can achieve server transfer, as explained in the POS, allowing another waiter to complete the tasks. Discount per item percentage. In the delivery, in case the employee is not allowed to edit the name, the phone number, the blacklist, or the credit limit, remove the mark in the relevant checkbox. Hold and recall is intended for takeaway. In case disable main reading if open tables, and disable server reading if open tables were marked, and in case there are opened tables, it is not possible to view the main reading. It can be viewed after closing all the invoices of the day. In case disable modifier exit if modifier deleted was marked, and a modifier item was deleted, the exit is not allowed anymore, and another modifier has to be selected. In general, the mark in the checkbox next to Allow Changing Price has to be removed, preventing the user from changing the price from the POS while selling the item. Allow Changing Price can be marked allowing the manager or the owner to change the price. Fast Cash Entry and Print Last Invoice are intended for takeaway. In case Log Out after every fast food transaction was marked, each time a quick service transaction is performed, the user is redirected to the server name to insert his ID number. In case Log Out after every fast food transaction was not marked, the quick service page remains open. Enable Auto Add Item on Tables is marked in case there is an item that you would like to add automatically on the table, such as a bottle of water. In case there was a reservation module, mark the checkbox if the user is allowed to make reservations. Print Invoice from Preview Older Sales is used in case you would like to prevent the user from printing again a closed invoice. In case Enable Search by Customer Code was marked, the user can only search for the customer by code. In case the customer was given a card, the user cannot perform the search using the customer's name, but through the code, and has therefore to use the card. This is useful in case there is an automatic discount on the card, avoiding inserting the customer's name while the latter is not present in the restaurant. If Item Transfer and Table Transfer Monitored was marked, each time an item transfer or table transfer is performed, the system will ask to insert the manager's code. If Close all delivery invoices as cash was not marked, this action cannot be achieved by the user. If Print the main reading automatically (EOD) was marked, the main reading is automatically printed when you accomplish end-of-day operation. Multiple discounts enables to make more than one discount on the invoice. All options under Functions are listed here. All options under Command are listed here. Reading shows the options that can be seen after printing the main reading, such as Sales by Item, Sales by Divisions, or Sales by Category. Here you can define the options to be seen. Also, notice here the button Set All to True. When clicking on it, all the options are selected as true, in addition to the button Set All to False. When clicking on it, all the options are selected as false. It is hence possible to select all as false and check the options you need, or select all as true and uncheck the options you don't need each time a new role is created. Employee Discount. Select here, for example, the cashier, and you want to allow him to make specific discounts. For instance, you don't want him to do Management 100%. Remove this option by clicking on the arrow. Nor Offer by Management, nor Open Discount. Remove these options by clicking on the arrow and click on Save. The cashier will only see the allowed discounts here and will not see the restricted discounts. Only the manager or owner can see the restricted discounts. Also, notice here the button Payment Exceptions. For example, select the role Cashier. You want to prevent him from closing a credit. Select Credit in the list to move it to the Payments Exceptions list, thus preventing the cashier from closing any invoice using credit. The same applies to the other options, such as Room Charge. When done, click on Save. Note as well that everything related to the employee configuration or employee roles can only be seen by one user who is an employee having an access code, and no other user can see this information. Only one person is in charge of defining the employee's privileges, thus enhancing the security. Employees' access to the back office can also be determined. Go to File, Change Security Access, select the role. Notice here in the list all the options presented in the back office, which can be marked as true or false by a simple click. From here, the employee can be given the privilege of a cashier, yet the cashier's privileges are already set by defining the options he is allowed to access in the back office. For example, he's only allowed to change the item's prices without having access to reports, or can only perform the end-of-day operation, see the items, and change their prices without being able to perform any other action. All these can be defined here in the Change Security Access. In this section, the customer management will be explained, starting with the customer information page, which is available in the back office and can be accessed from here by clicking on Customers. The following screen opens. Here it is possible to add a new customer, modify old customers' info by performing a search, and they'll appear here on the screen. Customers can also be previously added to the POS in case there was a delivery. They can be delivery customers or can be previously added in table management in case there was a reservation or in case the customers were added to any transactions in the POS. To add a new customer, click on New. Notice that there are 3 mandatory fields marked with a star, which are Name, Family Name, and Group. First, insert this info. Select the group, then click on Save. Other information can be added, such as the phone number, the mobile number, the office phone number, the email address, the company name, as well as all available information. When done, click on Save. It is possible to insert a code manually in the code field. It's also possible to identify a magnetic card or RFID card, or even use fingerprints for validation. Notice here statistics related to the customer: first order, last order, number of orders, and amount. The same fields are also available for delivery, in case he is a delivery customer. In case the customer was ordering using credit, for example, this customer has previously ordered in credit, and you would like to know how much he owes you, click on Get Balance. The due amount appears here. Notice here the field Credit Limit. If it is set at 1, this customer can take a credit. If it is set at 0, he doesn't have the right to take a credit. The number 1 designates open limit. But if a specific amount is entered in this field, for example, $500, in case the customer exceeds this amount, the system will indicate that no additional credit can be given to the customer, and will give one of two options. Either it shows a message about it, or prevents you from completely closing the invoice using credit. For example, this customer owes you $242, and he paid a certain amount. Click here on Receipts. Insert the paid amount and click on Save. Print the receipt and give it to the customer. When clicking again on Get Balance, notice that the balance has now changed accordingly. It is possible to issue statements of account for credit customers by clicking on Reports, Statement. Select the start date and the end date. The statement of account opens. Notice here the invoice as well as the paid receipt. It is also possible to issue reports listing the amount received, which is the collected amount. Select the start date and the end date. The amounts collected from all customers appear here in the list. Also possible is to issue customers aged reports, enabling to know the customer's due amount. A statement for customers altogether can be issued. Under Customer Management, in addition to Statistics and Credit Management, it is also possible to make automatic discounts by clicking on the arrow here. The previously created discounts appear. Note that the automatic discount is always a percentage. Select, for example, Discount 15% and click on Save. From now on, each time an invoice is listed under this customer's name, a discount of 15% is automatically made on the invoice. Under the column Address, it is possible to insert address details, as well as new addresses, by clicking on Add New. More information can be added under Miscellaneous, such as the gender, the marital status, etc. Here, it is also possible to enter the VAT number for customers who are registered. Price levels allow to specify a special pricing for loyal customers. Select the price level according to the previously created price modes in Items. Where, for example, Price Mode 3 is intended for special customers, insert 3 here. Now, each time an invoice is listed under this customer's name, it'll be made according to price level 3. In case a card was given to the customer, and this card includes automatic discounts or any other option available in the system, it is possible to determine the expiry date from here. For example, the automatic discount is valid for 1 year only, after which the card has to be renewed, or the expiry date has to be changed, or the percentage has to be modified, according to the customer's loyalty. Customer Maintenance. In case the same customer was added more than once in delivery, i.e., each employee is adding the customer with a different address or other information, instead of searching for him in the database, this customer is hence duplicated in the system. It is possible to merge the information. There are identical customers, i.e., having the same phone number and the same info, and there are duplicate customers, i.e., having a different information. Go to Tools, Auto Merge Identical Customers to remove identical customers. It is also possible to view all customers in one list where the merge can be performed manually. Click on the right-click to select the customer. Click on Merge Customer for the second customer. Then click on Merge Selected Customers and insert the key Omega. It is preferable to check this list regularly to keep the customer's database clean, without any repeated names. It is also possible to view customers without transactions, i.e., these customers are listed in the database but are not purchasing anything from your restaurant. As noticed before in the POS, complaints were added in Delivery, Tables, and Quick Service. These complaints shall be examined later on. In the back office, go to Actions and Tasks, Customer Complaints. Here, all the complaints will be listed one at a time, with the customer's name, the employee's name, the date and time, the status, whether true or false, as well as the complaint description, detailing the customer's complaint. At first, the status is set to be false, because no conversation has been undertaken yet with the customer to listen to his complaint and solve the problem. The employee in charge of customer service discusses the problem with the customer, and when he makes sure the customer is okay, the employee changes the status to true. It is also possible to issue reports about customer complaints, detailing whether the problem was discussed or not, along with the date, the customer's name, the employee's name, as well as the complaint's content. This is important to deliver a better service for customers. As noticed in the POS, it is possible to print an evaluation sheet to be filled by the customer. To create evaluation sheets or modify existing ones, go to Actions and Tasks, Evaluation Sheet Setup. Here, notice the column Title, under which there is, for example, Quality of Food, and the column Description, under which there can be, for example, Taste, Meals Temperature, etc. And under the column Type, there can be, for example, Grade 1 to 5, or Text, or Yes or No. Here it is possible to create titles. The order number indicates the sequential arrangement, for example, Quality of Food 10, Service 20. In case you would like to insert an entry between them, you can use, for example, number 11. The added entry will appear after Quality of Food. In Description, insert the question you would like to ask to the customer. For example, will you come back? In Type, there can be for either Grade 1 to 5, or Text, or Yes or No. If the answer to the question you've just asked is Yes or No, select this option. It can be added to any title. Insert the order number and click on Save. This question will be added to the evaluation sheet. After filling in the evaluation sheet, the customer's names shall be added to the system, allowing to be managed. Go to Actions and Tasks, Evaluation Sheet Data Entry. Search for the customer's name. Select his name and insert his answers facing each question. After including all the information as mentioned on the sheet, click on Save. It is also possible to issue reports. Click on Report, Evaluation Report. The system will calculate the average grade based on all the inserted evaluation sheet data. It is possible as well to issue evaluation reports based on criteria. For example, the criteria can be less than, equal to, or greater than. Select, for instance, less than 3 in order to know the weaknesses in the restaurant. Click on OK. And since there is nothing less than 3, you can see the report with the criteria of grades less than 4. Notice here, for example, that the service is not fast with a grade equaling 3, in addition to ventilation, etc., implying that all services and features with a grade equaling 3 have to be improved in the restaurant. The reports show the results of the system's use, the sales and transactions, as well as everything included on the system, whether statistical reports or control reports or customer reports. These reports are present in the back office. Click on Report here. All reports are accessible from this page. Select the start date and the end date. Each report is present under the relevant section. After selecting the needed report, it opens here. It can be printed and can be exported to a PDF file or to an Excel sheet. After clicking on the Export button, select the format and select the destination where the report shall be saved. It is possible to rename it. In the end, click on Save. The report is now saved in an Excel sheet. Selected reports can be sent at the end of the day. This can be achieved here in the Reports setup, where the desired reports can be selected, and each time end-of-day operation is performed, the selected reports are sent to you by mail. This option is accomplished by the Omega support team. In the next sections, some of the reports will be tackled. However, a great number of reports can be issued. In case you need a new type of report, send us an email to support@omegapos.com or call us for any assistance in issuing reports. This section presents some reports that can be viewed by the manager to get across sales and statistics. First, the Menu Engineering Worksheet report, which shows the sold items, the quantity, the popularity percentage with reference to other items, the item's cost that can be inserted from the items page, or in case there were recipes, it can also be calculated the selling price, the profit, the total cost according to the quantity, the total revenue according to the quantity, and the total profit according to the quantity. The next columns are the profit category and the popularity category. Under profit category, in case an item generates higher profits than other items, it will be rated as high. And in case it generates lower profits than other items, it will be rated as low. Under popularity category, in case an item is one of the best-selling items, it will be rated as high. And in case it is less sold than other items, it will be rated as low. The last column is the menu item class, which indicates the item's status. 4 types are presented: Dog, Challenge, Workhorse, or Star. In case the selling of an item is low, with low popularity and low profit, its type will be Dog. This item is listed on the menu, but can be removed if it is not essential. In case the profit of an item is low, but it has a high popularity, its type will be Workhorse. This item is sold in big quantities with little profit. Therefore, it is essential to find a way to make it more profitable, either by increasing the price or reducing the cost. The type Challenge applies for items generating high profits but are not sold in big quantities. This implies the need to promote it to increase the sales and improve its position. The type Star applies for items that are achieving excellent results, being sold in big quantities, while generating high profits. It is important to keep advertising for this type of item. The detailed explanation of the 4 types, dog, challenge, workhorse, and star, is included in this report. A second report, Sales Summary, in which the start date and the end date can be determined. The figures of each day appear listed under Subtotal, Discount, Taxes, Service, Number of Customers, Average Check, and the Total. This report enables to quickly identify the sales activity. It also enables to calculate the total for the selected days. It enables as well to identify the day on which the highest percentage was registered, allowing knowing the most profitable days during the week, for example. A third report, Theoretical Profit by Item, which depicts the approximate profit resulting from each item. It is essential in this regard to add the cost previously, either from the back office or as recipes from the inventory. The report will show the quantity, the price, and the profit of each item. It also shows the totals at the end of the day by category and by menu, illustrating the profits. It is noteworthy that this profit is theoretical because it does not take into consideration the wastage or the stock variance. It only takes into account the selling price, the quantity sold, and the cost. In case of table management, a report of table's turnover can be issued, showing the number of times each table was opened, as well as the invoices amounts on each table. And this can indicate the customer's favorite table. Another report, Average Sales by Menu, which shows the activities taking place in delivery, tables, and quick service, i.e. the number of invoices, the number of customers, the sales total, the average check, as well as the average by customer, indicating how much each customer is spending in your restaurant. Also listed is the total of all the selected dates of delivery, tables, and quick service altogether. This section presents some reports that help perform control and audit, mainly on employees. The first report is the Summary of Voids. It is important to know the number of voids taking place in the restaurant, to detect whether it exceeds the allowed number of voids, and in case the amount is extremely high, to be able to control it and stop these actions. Notice here the performed voids according to the reason, cold, delay, changed his mind, etc., in addition to the cancelled item and its relevant value, and the user who performed the void. Another report, Check Report by Server, which shows the work of each user, the relevant invoices amounts, as well as the number of print, which raises questions in case it exceeded 1. This report is useful for audit and to know the work performed by each employee. In case there were cashiers closing the invoices and waiters placing the orders, and you would like to evaluate the work of waiters and the number of orders, Orders Report by Employee enables to view each employee, items he sold, the relevant workstation, the time, as well as the total amount of the sold items. It is also possible to view the second employee's results with the achieved amount. Meter Report enables to achieve more auditing, allowing to identify the employees who are opening the main reading. For example, if the manager is given access to the main reading, it is possible to know the number of times and the timing at which the manager opens the main reading. The Meter Report shows the date and time, the employee name, as well as the relevant actions such as opening main reading or server report. The Items Transfers Report enables to identify and control items transfers from one table to another, along with the quantity, the item's description, and, more importantly, the name of the employee who performed the transfer. Another report useful for the audit is the User Log Report, where one can view the changes in the back office and the employee performing the changes. The user log report shows the module used by the employee, whether it is the employee setup, where updates can be achieved, or the end of day, or the general configuration, or the sales items, where items updates can be achieved. These sections are particularly important to know who is accessing the back office as well as the implemented changes. The report, Discount by Description by Server, enables to control discounts. The report shows the discounts made by each employee according to the type. For instance, a 15% discount was made on this invoice, and a $10 discount was made on this other invoice, and both discounts were made by the manager. The time and attendance report shows the punch in and punch out made by the employees, as well as the working hours spent in the restaurant. In case you would like to modify the time, for example, in case an employee punches out by mistake and you would like to insert the right time, double-click on the time. Select the time at which he really left. Insert the reason, for example, forgot to punch out, and save. Notice that the system has automatically set the time spent in the restaurant. For more control, it is also possible to manage the tips and distribute the total tips amount among the employees. The cashier inserts the tips amount. The report shows the tips entered in the cash drawer for each employee as well as the total. The total tips can be distributed to the employees. This section presents some examples of statistical reports. The complete report comprises a number of reports assembled in one place. It includes, for example, summary of sales by items, summary of sales by divisions, summary of sales by categories, tax report, and the statistics, which shows the sales in each activity, as well as the relevant mode and number of customers. It also includes summary of voids, summary of servers, summary of payments, and the tips, if any. There is also a number of time reports. For example, time report by EOD date showing the activities happening during an hour, the number of customers, and the totals. This is as a cross-tab report. It also shows the sales time. Another report is the daily sales by items, which is one of the numerous reports by items. It shows as cross-tabs the list of items as well as the dates, enabling to know the quantities sold of one item on a specific date, in addition to the total. Here, items are divided by groups. The group's totals can also be identified. The report Top-Selling Items in Quantity shows the top-selling items. Here, the example shows the top 10 selling items under food and under beverages. There is also the Check Report by Date, showing a list of invoices, the relevant amount, the payment type, the tax, the discount, the number of customers, as well as the number of print. Also, notice the Delivery Delay Report that shows delayed orders in case the delivery arrived late to the customer. The Customer Orders Report shows the customer's orders, value, and number of orders for each customer. This report is greatly important for delivery. Check Report by Date by Customer shows the ordering date as well as the invoice amount for each customer to be able to identify regular customers. The Electronic Journal Report shows in details all invoices, the same way as printed for the customer. All invoices are listed in sequence. The support team will answer any questions you have. Please send the questions to support@omegapos.com.